This is creativity on steroids. Hey everyone, welcome into Magnolia Photography SC. I'm Jeff House and I'm a wildlife photographer in Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, it is the month of May and we are still doing our giveaway for a free copy of DxO's Photolab 8. And again, thank you to DxO for sponsoring that giveaway. If you haven't submitted your entry, just go down to the show notes. There is a link there where you can go ahead and do that. Also, don't forget that there's another special link down there. And if you use my discount code Magnolia, you can go to DxO Photolab 8. Any purchase that you make, you will receive 15% off of that purchase. So be sure to take advantage of that. We are going to be talking about a new release of a program that DxO offers, some of their software. It's called the Nik Collection 8. Now, before I really go any further in this video, I do want to stress that this video is not sponsored by DxO. In fact, they have no idea that I am making this video, so they've had no input into it. And they will see it for the first time along with you once it's released. But the opinions that are expressed in this video are strictly mine. Now, the Nik Collection, if you've been around photography for any length of time, you're probably familiar with this name. It's been out for many, many years. As a matter of fact, I think it goes back to the 90s when the Nik Collection came out, and many photographers have used this over the years with a lot of love and a lot of passion. Now, the Nik Collection did go through some periods where whoever was in control of it, and I think before DxO, it might have been Google, and I think the program was not getting much attention, and it was kind of getting a little bit stale. It was kind of dying. And DxO picked it up several years ago and they breathed a lot of new life into it. And it's really been brought up to date. And it's such a great, great piece of software. It's made up of a suite of plugins. And we're going to be going over what those plugins are in just a moment. It is worth noting that the Nik Collection is compatible with Lightroom Classic, Photoshop, Affinity Photo 2, of course, Photolab 8, and it can be used as a standalone application. Of course, one of the things that I love most about the Nik Collection is it is not a subscription-based service. It is a one-time purchase and you own it for life. Now, the Nik Collection retails for $159.99, and as in typical fashion of DxO, they offer a severe discount if you are upgrading to the Nik Collection 8, and you can do so for just $89.99. Of course, if you're not familiar with it, or if you want to see what the Nik 8 Collection has to offer, download the 30-day free trial version so you can test it out. As I mentioned, the Nik Collection is made up of 7 plugins in this suite of software, and I think you could arguably say that the Silver Efex plugin, which is a black and white conversion plugin, is probably worth the entire price of the Nik Collection. This has been regarded as one of the best black and white conversion pieces of software on the market, and I couldn't agree more. So if you really love black and white photography, you really need to check this out. With that being said, guys, let's take a look at the 7 plugins and just give you an overview of what they do. The first one that we have up is the Color Efex. And this one will allow you to adjust the colors, the contrast, and the tonality of your imagery. Next one up is the Silver Efex. Now, as I just stated, if you love black and white photography, and who doesn't, you are truly going to feel like you are stepping back into the dark room with these effects. And it's going to be a great tool for creating stunning black and white images. Next one that we have is the Analog Efex. And if you really enjoy creating those classic retro and vintage looking images, then this plugin is going to help you create those amazing looks. Next one up is Viveza. And this is a plugin that gives you a lot of control both globally and both through local adjustments to the colors and tonality of your images. The next plugin that we have is Define. Now, we already know that DxO Photolab is known for its amazing noise reduction software. Define is one of those plugins that is further going to allow you to reduce the noise in your images, but without sacrificing any detail or quality to your photographs. Something you definitely need to check out. The next one up is Nik Sharpener. Now, this is going to allow you to extract all of the detail out of your images by applying the correct amount of sharpening. And it's really going to do a great job of preparing your photo for whatever use you have, whether that is printing it on a home printer, sending it to a professional photo lab, or sharpening it for display on a high definition screen. If you enjoy HDR photography, then have no fear, because DxO is going to do all of the heavy lifting for you. It's going to perform all of the calculations, and it's going to simplify the merging of multiple exposures to create HDR photos that are both stunning and natural looking. All right, guys, so there you have it. That is a general overview of the Nik Collection 8. Now, I want to jump into DxO Photolab so that we can take a look and see what the interface really looks like. All right, welcome into DxO Photolab 8. We are going to take a look at this wood duck, and we are going to take it in to one of the plugins here in Nik Collection 8. Now, we are not going to go through every single plugin that exists inside of the Nik Collection, but bear in mind that we are going to take a look at one of the plugins, but they will all work very similarly to how this plugin is working, right? The options that we have within each plugin are obviously going to vary to some degree, but as long as you have a basic understanding of the setup of the interface, then you will be able to utilize the options within each plugin. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, if you're in Photolab 8, if we come down to the bottom right-hand side, right here, we have a button for choosing the Nik Collection. So we are going to choose that, and we're going to get this little pop-up box that allows us to choose what plugin we want to go into. We're just going to choose the color effects for this particular demonstration. All right, so now we have our photo into the Nik 8 Color Effects plugin. Let's just take a look at the interface to get an understanding of how things work here. So at the top going across, we have a way that we can compare our images. We can, of course, just look at it as a single image. We can look at it as a compare with a slider, right? If we went to the right, this would be the before. And if we had an effect and went to the left, we would see the after. We can also look at it with the one image over the other. And then we can, of course, change how we view this as far as a zooming level. So we can do a fit zoom, we can do a fill zoom, we can do a 1-to-1, and we, of course, can go in here, drop down, and pick the specific percentage that we want to view our photo at. So we will go back to the fit zoom. If we are across the top on the right-hand side, if we are done editing our image and want to export it to our desktop, we could do that by choosing this drop-down box and choosing either JPEG or TIFF. And there are some preferences here as well. If we wanted to add some effects inside of Color Effects 8 here, and we're really liking what we're doing, but perhaps we want to go to another of the plugins to apply some other effects, we can very easily do that by going to this drop-down box in the upper right-hand corner, selecting the plugin we want to use. And once we do that, we will be moved to that plugin. Very simple, very easy, and very seamless. Now, on the left side of the interface, if we know what preset or filter we want to use, we can simply type it into the search bar. Otherwise, we can come down here to the categories. Now, you can break this down by category. If you wanted to go to color, you can choose that, and then you will get all of the effects that apply to this color category. I like to pretty much keep it, in the most part, to all Nik. Every once in a while in the color effects, because I know it exists, I will go down and choose wildlife because I'll want to see a specific effect to wildlife. But assuming that we are in all Nik still, What we have down here is a set of presets that we can choose, and whatever we choose here, it's going to apply an effect. We also have some filters that we can apply, and again, we can go down here and click on these and it will apply it to our photo. Now you can stack these effects. Every time you want to add one, you just come over here and you will get a little plus sign. Just click the plus sign and you can add that effect. If you want to add another one, go down, hit the plus sign, you'll add that effect. What you're going to notice is any time that we add an effect to our image, the right side of the screen is going to change. Right now we have a little loop window, right, giving us a little preview of what's going on. We have our histogram, of course, but let's just click on a black and white conversion filter just to see what happens here. And you can see that we now get a change in the right side of the screen. The right side of the screen is always going to show us the tools for the effects that we applied. So we can come over here and adjust this black and white conversion, and we can do that either manually by changing each of these sliders individually, or we can come down and just adjust the opacity slider here. And that will just change the level of the effect that we apply. So there is a lot of control there. Furthermore, we can go down and we can choose local adjustments. So if we wanted to apply this effect to certain parts of the area and target a specific part of the area, we can use our local adjustments in helping us to do that. If we decide we do not like this effect, we can go to the upper right-hand corner of the panel, and you can see that we have an X button. If we click that, it will simply delete that effect. So very easy to also undo something that maybe you don't like or don't want to add. Let's go back to the presets. So maybe I want to come in and I'm going to go to the wildlife ones here just to simplify our options. Maybe I want to apply the wildlife fur details preset. So I'm going to click on that. And now it's been applied. And you can see that these are the tools that get applied with the wildlife fur details preset. Same thing as we just discussed. You can go in here and you can manipulate this effect however you like. You can go slider by slider and make these manual adjustments, or you can even go down to opacity and change the level of the opacity so that you effectively change how much of the effect is or isn't applied. Once again, we can use local adjustments. If we want to work with the detail extractor here, maybe there's a certain part of the image where we don't want this effect or we want more of the effect, we can use the local adjustments to help us achieve this. When we go down to the tonal contrast, we have more sliders. We can use them manually, or we can use the opacity slider to change the level of the effect. And once again, we have the local adjustment options to either apply it to a certain part of the image or make sure a certain part of the image doesn't have it. So this is extremely, extremely powerful. If we want to take a look at what we have with the effect that we applied, I like using this compare mode where we can use the slider. And this is what I was talking about a little earlier. If we have the slider to the right, we're looking at the original image that we brought into the program. If we go to the left, we can see what it looks like with the effect applied. This is a great way to see how the changes you're making are impacting your image. Again, if you want to continue to add certain effects to your image, maybe you want to do the pre-sharpener, maybe you want to do the define to add some additional noise reduction, simply go up here, click on the drop-down arrow, and go to whatever other plugin you want to go to. If you're done and you want to export it, again, this is where you can do that. And if you are all done and just want to return it to Photolab 8, you could come down here and just click the apply button. If you do go through here and apply this particular preset, or maybe you apply some other preset, let's just say you go through and you do some of your manipulation to really fine tune the look that you want for your image. If you really like that and think it might be valuable on future images, you can also come down here and save it as a preset. So once you're done making all those global adjustments, I wouldn't do local adjustments because The local adjustments aren't going to know where your subject is and where they should be applied. Local adjustments are really applied on a photo by photo scenario. But if you do the global adjustments here and you really like the look that you've achieved, save it as a preset. And that will really just save you a lot of time as you're editing your photos. It'll be saved in there and you can just access it next time you bring a photo into this plugin. All right, guys, so that is the Nik Collection 8. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, you found it informative, I would appreciate it very much if you would like it. That will be sure to push the video out to other like-minded individuals like you and I who enjoy this type of content. And I hope that you consider subscribing to the channel as well. I appreciate your time. Don't forget to go down to the show notes and submit your entry to win that free copy of DxO Photolab 8. Thank you for spending your time with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Good luck with your wildlife photography and take care.